I'll say that the biggest problem really is the lack of vision in photography, right? Like, what's really important, once you've sort of mastered the little skills part, it's like having a vision. I think that's what really is the defining factor, and will make it or not make it.
Yeah, for sure. I always split the photography kind of, or the photographer, into two types of skill sets. And if you have both, you end up being a pretty good photographer. One is just technical know-how that a monkey can learn. And the other one is that artistic vision and creation and that artistic, I guess, touch, message, story, all of the kind of intangible parts. Why do you think there is a lack of vision these days in the photography
Oh, I'm
industry?
sure that it's not these days. It's just that there's more of us now, and then you see everybody's work. So there's just more work, and you see more of it. So that's why it feels like there is more. But I'm sure if you're starting photography in the 1950s and had no vision, it would have been just as problematic as it is now, right? Like, but
Yeah.
people in the 1950s probably picked up a camera for motives that were different because there was no outlet for it, right? It was more like a hobbyist thing that you do on your own. And the cost was so expensive that you better had a plan, right? Because it's so expensive to shoot photos and get them developed. So now all the barriers of entry are removed, which is great. People are on a levelly, playing field with laptops and a camera. So then obviously what shines now is that, well, access is there, but then there's nothing to show, right? These photos are hollow. There's just, no real message.
So how do you counter that? What is your process when you're wanting to tell a story, create a...
You have to get your inspiration. You need to get inspiration. That, a photographer who doesn't look at other people's work, that's probably a lie. They tell you that. It's just an inspiration. So if you take your stuff from the same cesspool that everybody does, then it's just garbage in, garbage out, not adding any value. But if you're taking your inspiration from places that nobody does, and if they're quality on top of that, two criteria: take it from somewhere that people don't look at, and then two, make sure that's a good source, right? It's also bad sources that people don't look at, right? Two things that you have to consider. And kind of rinse and repeat. So that could mean finding some obscure blog that nobody knows, some blog spot that hasn't been updated for years, but it has really cool inspiration. And then learning about the masters of photography through their books, the Avedons and there's so many. And also